Hi, and welcome to the Confident Woman Podcast. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Erin.
And we're here to keep it real, raw, and what it means to be the confident woman.
All right, so opinions. We're talking about opinions because everybody has them. And whether you ask for them or not, people will give them to you. And I get annoyed by opinions for multiple reasons. I feel like it stops a lot of people from achieving a goal or going towards something they want because of what other people think, or they just give bad advice with their opinions. Like, why does your opinion matter? So you're giving me a mean look. Do you got some opinions?
I got some opinions on this opinion.
Okay. All right.
I think opinions suck.
Yeah.
They really do. And even though we're saying our own opinions, like this is my opinion of opinion.
Our opinion of opinions, right?
They suck. But I feel like opinions personally just do a lot more harm than good, especially when given on the opposite side. So like if somebody's looking for feedback or
I'll ask for opinions from people that I look up to.
But I feel like we've just been conditioned to give unsolicited opinions and advice. And it's like, nobody asked for it.
Yeah, try being pregnant.
Yeah, well,
people give me a lot of opinions.
I would imagine because everyone has something to say about that. But I just think overall, when we're just doing our thing, and whether we're open to asking somebody for their feedback or opinion, asking for it, we have to brace ourselves for their response. Right. But when it's unsolicited and just get thrown off course, you're just kind of like blindsided. Where did that come from? And I think just people overall, it just comes natural because we're conditioned to kind of see the negative in things where we need to retrain and see the positive. So even though opinions could be most likely are negative, they could be very inspiring and positive. And those, I always just think of like those are compliments.
Yeah.
Or constructive criticism. So there's a time and a place I feel like opinions are welcome.
And it depends on, I always think like consider the source.
Right.
So who is this that's giving their, even if I ask, like, I'm not going to go ask my broke best friend financial advice.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's like, if I have a broke friend that I know they're broke and they're telling me like, oh, I think you should do this.
Yeah.
It's like, you're just, sorry if you're listening, but like, you're stupid if you listen to that person. That's like, if your friend is like 50 pounds overweight and they're telling you about this diet that you should do.
Not going to happen.
Yeah. I'm just saying like some people I feel like I see a lot of people listen to people, like let their opinions sway them that have nothing to do or have never reached the result that they want to get. But yet they put so much value on this person's opinion because it's mom or it's my friend I've known since I was 8. So you listen to their opinions even though they don't have any qualifications to give you opinions about certain things. Like my mom, I'm probably not going to ask her advice on, I shouldn't say anything because she listens, but I would ask my mom advice on everything. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to think of an example, but like there's certain things that she's never been had her own. Well, actually she has had her own business, but like she's like, I would never ask her business advice, I guess, because that's not her forte. That's not where she thrives and what she's great at,
And I think just overall, like, if you're actually looking for opinions and advice in a subject that you're looking to grow yourself, like just for example, I want to lose weight. So you're going to go to somebody who's actually done that.
Yeah.
Or somebody who is, a professional in the area that you're seeking. So I wouldn't just go to somebody who, like you said, your broke friend or your overweight friend or somebody who's on their third marriage and ask for advice. And, realistically, like, maybe they have some hindsight advice of like what not to do, but it should never sway you into, oh, okay, now these are the things that I have to become to better myself.
Yeah.
I just think like overall, like, when we let too much noise into our lives that it derails us from who we are, where we're going, and then we lack that clarity and like just it creates a whole lot of confusion,
noise,
right? So I mean, I had somebody
in doubts. You know what I mean? Like you might think you have something really good going on, and then someone who has nothing going on in their life gives you this opinion, and then you think, what if they're right?
Exactly.
Like, they're probably not, but
because we've already opened that door in our minds when we have self-doubt and we allow that self-talk. And when we allow somebody else's negative opinion come in, it just creates this mess inside. And the same thing happened to me. I was just like filled with this incredible like self-doubt. I didn't really know, like I knew what I was supposed to be doing, but I was just kind of navigating it the wrong way. And I asked a friend about it, and she was just like, you're all over the place. You're too much. You're too this. You're too intense. You're too this, blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, wow. So was there anything nice in there about it? Like, were you actually helping solve the problem?
Right.
I just felt like you just kicked me while I was already down. And so those are the opinions that are just not welcome. So I always feel like read the person too. I mean, sometimes like if we catch ourselves into that negative spiral, say, am I really helping, or am I just kind of throwing dirt on it?
Yeah.
And so throughout that whole thing, it just really made me question, maybe she had some truth to that. And so it spiraled me out of control into that like self-doubt pit. And I had to work twice as hard to get out of that, because I knew that one, my own self-talk was a liar, and she was a liar. Like there is no way that I am too much for everybody. And maybe I'm too much for that person, but I think at that point, it just made it clear where our boundaries were set. And I'm not going to I'm not going to be a one size fits all for everybody, but I enjoy who I am. And I feel like if you're going to make an impact in this world, you have to be a lot of something.
Right.
I'm looking back when I was thinking this through, I was like, I don't think anyone who's ever made a big impact in this world was less and meek.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not for everybody, and everybody's not for me. And that's cool.
Yeah. And I think like when people give like that person like many negative opinions. I feel like sometimes people are just like don't want to see you succeed sometimes, because then it makes them feel less about themselves because they're not achieving anything or they're not seeing anything, so they don't makes them feel better. Or if people, like I said, like we talked about before, like sometimes you do get opinions from people that is pretty solid advice, like actual good criticism. So again, it's just like who you value, whose opinions you value, whose you don't, whose opinions you respect for whatever reasons, whose you don't. I mean, there's been people, and I think too, it comes along with a lot with like thinking for yourself. So many people don't think for themselves at all anymore.
They put too much expectation on other people to decide or think for them, because they are lacking the clarity and confidence in themselves.
Exactly. So someone decides, I'm going to start a business. What do you think? I think that's a dumb idea.
Okay, so it's a dumb idea.
It's like, so like that kind of person obviously like has a lot of work not to do before they ever are going to succeed in anything. If you're just going to let one person with an opinion sway you so far off a decision that you thought that you'd made, do that. But I mean, and again, there's times where like I've had people in my life, mentors or people that I looked up to in my life, where I maybe asked their opinion on certain things and they told me something I didn't want to hear, but it ended up being the right thing. Like, so they were justified, but I already had a value for their opinion because of what they've done. So it wasn't like I was asking my best friend Susie that's done nothing with her life. I'm asking the right people their opinions, and they gave me opinions that I didn't agree with, but they ended up being like valid advice and a good idea, I guess. So, but sometimes you got to think for yourself and go out on your own and take a chance too.
Exactly.
There's not like there's definitely times where they've given me advice on things I shouldn't do, and I did it anyways, and it worked out. So
yeah, you just have to know, gosh, it's like, know who you are, because then it's so much easier to filter and tune out all the unsolicited negative opinions. Like in that moment of self-doubt that I was going through, I actually let some of that get to me, because it was also feeding the voice in my head. And I was like, yeah, right, maybe I do suck at this. And, kind of just asking like, who am I? And had I done all these things? And then at hindsight, when I was looking through everything, I'm like, I know who I am. Yes, I've done these things. I don't care if I'm too much for you. I don't care if it's not enough for whatever expectation that person had. And in hindsight, it was a ding on that individual's insecurities, because I was doing things that she had wished that she had done. And so it was almost like holding a mirror up. And so I knew not to take it personal, but when I was already in that pit, I did kind of take it a little bit personal, because my voice was already saying it.
Yeah.
So I just knew that my truth had it changed her reality. Like that wasn't her truth. And it was almost a mirror of what she wished to aspire to do. And I don't know. I think when we look at that, we got to ask ourselves, like, why is somebody coming at us like negatively to attack us?
Because you're doing something.
Right. Because they're maybe not at that level.
Yeah.
Maybe that's their inner critic talking to them and saying, see, you haven't done any of these things. You're too much or you're not enough.
Right.
So just look at it and just start asking yourself, does it really matter? Is this really you?
And I think I always notice that the people that have the most the most opinionated people are not doing anything with their lives. I was going to say worthless, but that's mean. I'm sure they have some worth to some people in their lives. But I'm saying like most people that have the most opinion, the loudest people are genuinely the ones that aren't doing anything, you know? Like I don't have time to go around and look at every single person and give them an opinion of what I think about their life because I'm worried about mine. I'm focused on mine. So I'm not going to go around and be like, oh, you should do this or you should do that or I didn't like this or blah, 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 blah. Even like, I know this is kind of off topic, but like I just think about like on Facebook thinking like opinions and people post like whether it's like their political beliefs or their even like sports. Like, you know how many I had to take myself out of conversations sometimes because like this isn't even worth it. But everybody wants to give their opinion and then they want to like back it up why it's fact or why they're right. Mm-hmm. Like I saw got caught up the other day reading this long thing about who's the greatest NBA player of all time. And everyone's opinions about Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, like all this stuff. Ryan Russell. I mean, we're going all over the place and like reading all this stuff. And I got into it for a second because I have my opinions, right? Yeah. But I'm not going to waste my time posting them on there. But it was just like, was crazy to me that I'm like, these people have nothing else to do in their life but spend 2 hours on a thread giving their opinion. And I'll tell you, Michael Jordan doesn't give a shit if you think he's the best or not.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter. It's like the people that are off doing things and creating things and being the best at something, they don't have time to sit around and think about, they don't care what your opinion is.
Yeah, it's like pettiness where we're out there doing the best we can. And like I said, I mean, people are going to give you their unwarranted opinion.
Fun.
It's silly, it sucks, it's stupid, could be hurtful. Mm-hmm. But then, like you said, I mean, if you're the focus on you, you're going to actually seek out somebody else's opinion. So when you're doing the seeking, that's the opinion that you should at least consider because you sought that out.
Yeah, and who you seek it out from.
Right.
I joke around. I always laugh at like election stuff. I'm like, every 4 years, every single person on my newsfeed is an expert in foreign policy, economics. They have their opinions on what we need to do as a country in order to fix this or get this back on track. And I'm like, dude, you're broke and you're at the bar right now writing all this stuff. Just cool it. So I guess that just goes back to the whole like consider the source things of things you hear or opinions you're seeing from people. But I don't know. I think like that's my biggest pet peeve that I've experienced over the past few years. I feel like my biggest pet peeve is people getting excited about something and wanting to achieve something and letting someone's opinion put them off track. Pet peeve number 1, which I guess goes into the same as pet peeve number 2 is people that need that validation that don't think for themselves or make their own decision or thoughts based on what they believe or what they want or seek out how to do something. They let other people's opinions sway their thoughts and the way they think.
And if you're lacking that clarity and confidence in yourself, you become a sponge and you let everybody else's opinions in and you just get mixed up and you're just kind of just, for lack of better terms, you get stuck. Right. Like you don't even know what direction to go to because, well, your aunt says this, your grandma says this, your best friend says this, you think this, you know this, but yet you feel outnumbered on the opinions and directions that you should take.
Yeah.
And so you just shut down.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, I don't know. Maybe they're right.
To me, it's just make a decision. Either be a wuss and listen to your friends or stand on your own feet.
Always comes down to know yourself and make choices for you and where you're going.
Exactly. So please don't let other people's opinions dictate your life and where you're going. Consider the source when listening to opinions and just be bold enough and confident enough to stand in your own decision. So that's it for me.
That's same here. Perfect. I mean, you nailed it because I was just wrapping that up with all about knowing who you are.
Yep. All right. Thank you so much for listening to the Confident Woman podcast. For more ways to connect with us, check out our Facebook group. It's the Confident Woman on Facebook. There's a ton of amazing ladies in that group that you can connect with as well. My Instagram is @Erin_travels for life. Make sure you go ahead and follow that and follow Rachel as well. What is yours, Rachel?
You can follow me on all social medias at I am Rachel Brooks.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Look forward to checking you next week.